the numbers are telling us something. It's not, the patterns are not very clear yet, but we can see trade diversification happening. We can see value chains being created. A lot of it is moving towards regionalization. So we see clusters of production moving in Asia. That's one clear cluster that is coming up. We're looking for other patterns. So yes, we do see that. We see our members trying to create new free trade agreements with each other. We see a new group forming. It's called FITP, the Future Investment and Trade Partnership, with 14 countries, and it's led by Singapore, New Zealand, UAE, and Switzerland. They're bringing together all these countries and saying, we want to form a new partnership to drive trade.
It's just, how does it all work without the US? And particularly, as you saw from the IMO, and the failure of the IMO to come up with a deal on maritime, if the US decides to be troublesome, mischief-making, annoying, how can it work?
Put it this way, we don't have to speculate about how can it work. We need to look at what is happening now. So with our members, they're crafting new deals bilaterally or new agreements, or the US is crafting new agreements with them that are not within the WTO system. So they are not part of the MFN. And that's going on. But outside of that is the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is trading with each other on the WTO terms. And I want to commend all our members. By the way, the US remains a member of the WTO. And I want to commend all of them. First, for dialogue with the US, no tit for tat. That's why we still have a high MFN. They have not done tit for tat with the US, and we think that's the best way so that the world doesn't descend into chaos with respect to trade. Secondly, continuing to trade with each other on WTO terms. That's what is keeping the world stable. So we need to give them credit for continuing with that. It's painful. It's not easy. It's stressful. This is a very, very stressful time. I'm not trying to minimize any of that. You know, I feel stressed.
I'm interested in this idea of a shifting away from unanimity, because consensus does not require unanimity. Mm-hmm. And many of us have always believed that unanimity has been the weakest part of the WTO, this incessant wish to get everybody on board, which eventually leads to wishy-washy nothing.
Well, I wouldn't quite characterize it as wishy-washy nothing, because we just landed a very good agreement through the consensus rhythm, the fisheries subsidies agreement, to remove $22 billion in subsidies. And I want to commend members. However,
you know what I mean.
However, yes, I agree with you that this is one of the things we need to look at. Okay, consensus is good. We should keep it because it gives the smallest member the same power as the largest. However, it can be practiced in a way that is much more efficient, much more effective, that doesn't keep, if an agreement is being made and it doesn't materially harm your interests, perhaps you can just allow others to get on with it. We need to have a situation in which flexible coalitions of the willing within the WTO can make agreements, can make decisions, and move on with it.
How close are you to getting that, do you think?
We have work to do. We are not close. But what is important is identifying the issue, okay? We first have to identify the issue and say, are these the problems confronting us? And get everyone to agree. You can't even work on the problem if there's disagreement on whether it's a problem or not. I think now virtually every member, I say virtually, there may still be one or two, virtually every member agrees that we need work because we cannot keep up with AI and the fast-moving world of technology if this is the way we are making decisions. We have to make it more efficient, more flexible. So that's one. We have to be able to do what are called plurilateral agreements in which a few can get together, not all the membership. And we are working on it. Second, we need to make all members feel that the organization is delivering something worthwhile for them. If developing countries feel it doesn't work for them, they're not going to be as engaged. If the US feels it's not working, you have seen the consequence of that. If emerging markets. So how do we take into account the issues of all these constituencies? Some of them say protectionism is rising, too many walls, we
Yeah.
can't trade as freely. And that is true. If you look at all the indicators, 2, average tariffs in the world have doubled. How do we get back to the path of more liberalization? Secondly, there's lack of trust, because some people feel that some members are not declaring what they are doing as openly as they used to. We have to reform that.
You're not getting back to lower tariffs.
Well, let's see. If we are not getting back to lower tariffs, let's at least not make it higher and higher, okay? Let's halt it. More and more protectionism is not the way to go.